A lot of people might say that 2020 was the year of protest, the year of marches. It sounds like the things that we're talking about here on the show, a protest and a march, while nice on the surface, aren't actually moving the needle the way that things actually have to get moved. Is there something to counter a march or a protest to actually start fixing things stronger, or do you think that marches and protests are a great thing for these to push DE and I?
Look, marches and protests get attention. That's what they're meant to do, right? They're meant to bring light to an issue at hand. They definitely work. They've been going on for years and years now, and they get people's attention. What happens is, and what makes a lot of people that don't agree with a lot of those marches and protests is that they think that's all that's happening, and oftentimes, sadly, sometimes that is all that happens. People say, "Hey, we're going to meet here. We're going to march. We're going to protest those injustices that we see." And then we go home and we talk on our phone about how great the march was. But, I would encourage people to, have your marches, have the protest, and then let's get a group of people together. Let's have those roundtable discussions. Let's invite people that might not agree with our marches or might not agree with our protests. And let's say, what was your take? What did you get from that? How did that make you feel? Because I think we mentioned it earlier. Communication is the key, right? We have to talk. That's why we don't know what we don't know. And we have to make sure that people want to be heard. Whether you're right or you're wrong, people want to be heard. So when I have these conversations with people, I always start with, hey, we're going to have a diversity, equity, and inclusive conversation. What do you see, or how do you perceive things that you see on TV right now? How do you perceive things what happen with the National Football League? How do you perceive these protests that sometimes are blocking your car when you're not able to go where you want to go? People open up because they want to get their voices heard. And they're a lot more likely to talk to you once you listen to them. And sometimes we don't want that to happen. We want to get it's an instant reaction. As soon as we hear something we don't agree with, we got to, excuse me, no, but you're wrong. And nothing gets done that way. So I encourage people to have the protest, have the marches, bring light to the situation, and then go into those meetings with people, invite people into your conversation and say, look, this is what you saw we stand for. How does it make you feel? How do you feel about these things? And how can we come together and communicate? Because there's a big difference between acceptance and agreement, right? You don't have to agree on everything, but you have to accept that somebody feels different. Because what happens is, what I tell people, there's a thing here I got to use that says it's a loss in translation. So if I'm looking at something that I don't agree with, and I say they're not for me, I don't get it, I don't agree with it. But what I don't see, the people that are marching and protesting, for them, it's a cry for help. Help, we're hurting, we need help. But I'm not communicating them. So when it goes across the line and it gets translated, it's a war cry to us. Hey, they're against us. I don't know what they're talking about, but I don't like it. And it's a failure on communication piece for people to talk and say, hey, how can we come together and address this issue? And it happens all the time, and we see it now nationally.